Joining us to talk more about Scott Pruitt is John Sutter, columnist for CNN.com. You are our man on the environment, so let me ask you, what is it about Scott Pruitt? Why is he such a lightning rod?
I mean, I think Scott Pruitt is the Attorney General from Oklahoma, which is an oil and gas state, and environmentalists really see him as being in the pocket of the oil and gas industry and in the agricultural industry also. That he's sued the Environmental Protection Agency more than a dozen times, asking them to loosen rules that protect the air and the water from pollution. So it's, a lot of environmentalists see it as hugely ironic that he would be leading this agency. Climate change is also, arguably the most critical environmental issue of our time, and Scott Pruitt has expressed a lot of doubt and made, false, inaccurate statements about climate change. He formerly called it a hoax. Recently he said that, maybe it's not a hoax, but we don't know that much about it and there needs to be more research done into figuring out the consequences. When in reality, 97% of climate scientists agree that we're causing climate change by burning fossil fuels and there are dire consequences.
And that's why we wanted to talk to you about him, because he's not a household name in the United States. He's not a household name certainly outside the United States. But when you think about climate change as a global phenomenon, he will have an important role in U.S. policy on climate change. I mean, when you think about the impact he could have on everyone on the planet today and everyone for generations to come.
It really is staggering. I mean, it sends a really important signal, right? The Trump administration has put out its America First energy plan, which is kind of a statement on its roadmap for climate policies. It said that it wants to revive the coal industry, wants to sort of move back towards fossil fuels. And Scott Pruitt, now heading the EPA is seen as, sort of confirming those signals. And I do think that for people who care about climate change and environmental issues, which really should be all of us, it is hugely troubling, both in the very now sense of air pollution causes a few million deaths per year worldwide, but also many generations into the future. If the U.S. Pulls out of the Paris Agreement on climate change or essentially ignores our pledges to the global community to reduce our pollution, that's causing climate change, then that could really set us back. That means, all those consequences become worse. So you see these, these floods, these heavy rain events, coastal cities that are at risk from Shanghai to New York to Miami. So these are truly global issues, and so his nomination, I think, does matter around the world.
Now, you're not the only one raising red flags about this. Inside the EPA employees, government civil servants, have been protesting in the streets in the United States, and they've been calling up their elected representative lawmakers, trying to urge them to stop the confirmation. Have you ever heard of that before?
I haven't heard of that before, and many experts, have been quoted saying that this is unprecedented, like former EPA officials included. And I do think that really tells you how seriously people are taking it. Like, imagine that you're a scientist who spent, a number of years doing this kind of research, and you're worried that either those data sets could disappear or be misinterpreted or be sort of misused in your view. I think it's really telling that these agency workers essentially are saying, this is very frightening to us, and we're actually working against this confirmation. It's too late for that, and so we'll see sort of what turmoil proceeds at the EPA, but I think it definitely will be a rocky road. There's already that conflict brewing. There are reports that Scott Pruitt is going to go to the EPA and kind of speak to those workers soon, so we'll see what effect that has or doesn't have. But all of his public statements about climate science in particular, I think, have really upset people who work on those issues.
This is a man the whole world should be watching. John Sutter, thanks very much.
Thank you.